6 on our trade tracker available as you look at some of the moves that have been made in the last 24 hours or so. Shane Bieber, former Cy Young winner, on his way north of the border to Toronto. You can keep track of everything that's going on up to the minute, up to the second with our trade tracker at cbssports.com. And we will be up and around anything that happens at 6 o'clock Eastern, by the way. When the deadline passes, we will go wall to wall with our live MLB Trade Deadline reaction, winners and losers, at the top of the hour from our Stamford, Connecticut studios. Counting down to the 6 p.m. Eastern Time trade deadline in Major League Baseball today. Yankees always a player, and they have made a pretty big move this afternoon. They're finalizing a deal to acquire closer David Bednar from the Pirates. The Pirates would get 3 prospects in return, including catcher Rafael Flores, who's the Yankees' 8th-ranked prospect. Bednar, a 2-time All-Star in 22 and in 23, has over 100 saves and an ERA right around 3 over 5 seasons in Pittsburgh. Let's get Jim Bowden in here. Jim, got a stat from Bob Nightingale that the Yankees bullpen has an ERA well over 6 this month. What is this acquisition going to do for that pen?
Yeah, it's a big acquisition because David Bednar is pitching great right now. And when you make a trade at the deadline, you want the guy that's hot. You want the guy that's going to come in and continue to dominate. That's what Bednar's been doing for Pittsburgh this year. He's had a couple of bad years, but he's put it all together right now. Watched him over the weekend up to 96 miles an hour. So when you put him with Devin Williams and Luke Weaver in the back end, that gives you 3 solid guys. And Bednar is controllable past this year. And of course, Devin Williams is a free agent at the end of the year. So I think that's an important aspect here. They paid a pretty good price like everyone else has been doing at this trade deadline. It's been a seller's market. I like Rafael Flores a lot. He'll be the future everyday catcher of the Pirates down the road. And I really like Edwin Perez, the catcher first baseman. He's a young kid, but has a really good hit tool with power. So I think the Pirates did really well in this trade in the long term, but the Yankees did what they had to do. And by the way, I don't think they're done. I believe they will get a starter in the next 3.5 hours.
Well, that's a good transition to my next question. I was going to ask you, what's the latest with Sandy Alcantara?
I don't know the latest. The Marlins have gone dark. Obviously, they're working hard to make a trade. What's kind of fascinating is a lot of the teams that are interested in Alcantara have been relatively quiet recently. Chicago Cubs haven't done much. The Los Angeles Dodgers, outside of getting Brock Stewart from the Twins, have been quiet. We haven't heard from the Red Sox. We're waiting for them to do a splash. The Blue Jays are still looking for a starter. And, of course, the Yankees have been involved with Alcantara as well. So don't know where he's going, if he's going, but we're running out of time right now. We got 2.5 hours left.
All right, and the Arizona Diamondbacks have some pitchers who are on the block and available. You mentioned that the Yankees are going to end up with a starter most likely before this thing is all said and done. What's the latest on those Diamondbacks pitchers, including Merrill Kelly?
Yeah, so Mike Hazen, the GM of the Diamondbacks, have been telling all of the GMs that he's not going to trade either one unless he gets better than what they believe they can draft with a competitive balance pick, because they will offer the qualifying offer to both of these guys. That being said, I do think Merrill Kelly is going to get dealt. I know the Blue Jays had been working on a deal for him as well as others, but I am expecting him to be dealt at the deadline.
Go. The 2025 CBS Sports NFL schedule is here. 18 glorious Sundays.
He's got his receiver touchdown.
Filled with rematches.
Oh, the play of the year.
And rivalries.
Touchdown, Bengals.
Plus, plenty of superstar showdowns. And an epic matchup between the Chiefs and Cowboys on Thanksgiving. Clear your Sundays beginning September 7th for the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus.
Someone targeted our daughter.
What are we going to do about it? I've got an idea.
Let's go.
NCIS, Tony and Ziva streaming this fall on Paramount Plus.
One of the best movies of the year
In it.
is now streaming on Paramount Plus.
What are we dealing with here? There's a hostage situation. Get the crew in.
It's gripping from beginning to end.
We can't make one mistake.
September 5, now streaming on Paramount Plus.
The most
most original musical ever is now streaming on Paramount Plus.
I'm just giving the people what they want.
Better Man absolutely sizzles from start to finish. Better Man, now streaming on Paramount Plus.
This is Chicago. The street's always gonna have a villain.
To protect the city, we have to do something. Women, it's time to get to work.
The Shot, new season streaming May 16th, only on the Paramount Plus with Showtime plan.
These are the voyagers of the Patrick Starship Enterprise.
Where's the sponge?
We're dream.
Whether you like SpongeBob, Star Trek, or both, find your mountain on Paramount Plus.
Hi. Novocaine?
Novocaine!
Novocaine is now streaming on Paramount Plus.
You're gonna love this.
Oh, you're strong!
It's wildly entertaining and an absolute blast.
I'm in.
Novocaine, rated R, now streaming on Paramount Plus.
I wasn't ready to die.
The wait is over.
I need to know what happened.
Discover the mystery everyone's been talking about. School Spirits. Every episode of all seasons now streaming on Paramount Plus.
What's he like? The happy-faced killer?
You mean my dad? Be glad you never have to know.
You think that you're so much better than me. You were just like your old man.
I'm not like you at all.
Problem solved.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Mobland, new series now streaming on Paramount Plus.
She knows, and I know she knows. And it goes a little something like this, here we go. Little song, little tune to play, make a good time
Breaking news, the Mets added again ahead of the trade deadline. They've acquired outfielder Cedric Mullins from the Orioles. Mullins with one of the great catches of the season, hitting just .229, but better known for his glove in center field. This move coming a day after the Mets added a couple of shutdown relievers in Ryan Helsley and Tyler Rogers. Let's get Jim Bowden in here. Jim, look, it's not about the batting average here. What have the Mets done so far with what they've added in pitching and now in fielding?
Yeah, so what the Mets were trying to do is they were trying to acquire Luis Robert Jr. from the White Sox. They worked really hard, but they could not match up at the end of the day. They waited until 3:30 before they pivoted and went to Cedric Mullins, who was their second choice. They were able to land him. They made a really good trade, I think. They traded 3 minor league relievers, one of which was a two-way player, but nothing significant to land Mullins, who is also under an expiring contract. What I love about Mullins is he's an elite defender in center field, but he also has speed and power. He can hit homers, he can steal bags, and he brings great energy to the park every day. And I think being in the same lineup with guys like Francisco Lindor and Juan Soto is going to benefit Cedric Mullins. I think it's a really good fit for them. And this has been a great trade deadline for the New York Mets. We've talked about over the last 24 hours the acquisitions of Ryan Helsley and Gregory Soto and Tyler Rogers. I mean, they've really built this bullpen up. They now have as deep a bullpen as anybody. Adding Mullins is speed and defense in center field. That's huge as well. So I think David Stearns has done a really good job so far at this deadline.
Go. The 2025 CBS Sports NFL schedule is here. 18 glorious Sundays.
He's got his receiver touchdown.
Filled with rematches.
Oh, the play of the year.
And rivalries.
Touchdown, Bengals.
Plus, plenty of superstar showdowns. And an epic matchup between the Chiefs and Cowboys on Thanksgiving. Clear your Sundays beginning September 7th for the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus.
Someone targeted our daughter.
What are we going to do about it? I've got an idea.
Let's go.
NCIS Tony and Ziva streaming this fall on Paramount Plus.
One of the best movies of the year
In it.
is now streaming on Paramount Plus.
What are we dealing with here?
There's a hostage situation. Get the crew in.
It's gripping from beginning to end.
We can't make one mistake.
September 5, now streaming on Paramount Plus.
The most original musical ever is now streaming on Paramount Plus.
I'm just giving the people what they want.
Better Man absolutely sizzles from start to finish. Better Man, now streaming on Paramount Plus.
This is Chicago. Street's always gonna have a villain.
To protect the city, we have to do something. Women, it's time to get to work.
The Shot. New season streaming May 16th. Only on the Paramount Plus with Showtime plan.
These are the voyages of the Patrick Starship Enterprise.
Where's the sponge?
Weird dream.
Whether you like SpongeBob, Star Trek, or both, find your mountain on Paramount Plus.
Hi. Novocaine?
Novocaine!
Novocaine is now streaming on Paramount Plus.
You're gonna love this.
Oh, you're strong!
It's wildly entertaining and an absolute blast.
I'm in.
Novocaine, rated R, now streaming on Paramount Plus.
I wasn't ready to die.
The wait is over.
I need to know what happened.
Discover the mystery everyone's been talking about. School Spirits, every episode of all seasons now streaming on Paramount Plus.
What's he like? The happy-faced killer?
You mean my dad? Be glad you never have to know.
You think that you're so much better than me. You're just like your old man.
I'm not like you at all.
Problem solved.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Mobland, new series now streaming on Paramount Plus.
She knows, and I know she knows. And that goes a little something like this. Here we go. Little something, little tune to play, make a good time
Breaking baseball news, Carlos Correa is heading back to Houston. According to our Jim Bowden, he has waived his no-trade clause to return to the Astros, where he was Rookie of the Year in 2015 and won the World Series in 2017. Will reportedly play third base for Houston. All right, let's get Matt Snyder in here, our baseball reporter. Matt, look, it kind of brings back memories, right? But what do you think Correa has left, and how can he help the Astros this season?
Yeah, he's been oft injured since he's joined the Twins. And remember, he initially agreed to a contract with the Giants, and then his medicals caused that to fall apart. Then he agreed with the Mets, and his medicals caused that to fall apart. And again, a lot of injured list stints with the Twins. But when he's right, he still is a very talented player, very capable at the plate. A good defender. He's gone down in defensive metrics here in the last few years with all those injuries at shortstop, but playing at third, you don't have to have as much range. He's always had a great arm, so his arm at third base is not going to be an issue at all. I think that going back to Houston with that short left field porch, the Crawford boxes there in Houston, in addition to kind of a homecoming, will kind of reinvigorate him. I think he's going to be a quality offensive player the rest of the way, and it is kind of a feel-good story there in Houston. He was the #1 overall draft pick for the Astros when they were really, really bad, and then he was part of the group that made the Astros into the force that they remain to this day, where they're in the playoffs every single year. They've been in so many World Series. They've won the World Series twice. I like the match here. If the Twins were going to shed him, this is one of the few places where I would have said, yeah, it makes sense for him to go back there. So it'll be interesting to see how good he is. He's obviously not going to be near as good as he was in 2021, but he was one of the best players in baseball. That's why he got such a big contract there in free agency. But I do think that he can be productive, especially at third base instead of shortstop, where he doesn't have to move around nearly as much.
Yeah, that 21 season, he was 5th in MVP voting in the American League. And even though he really never lived back up to that in Minnesota, he was an all-star last season. Astros in first place in the division, 5-game lead right now, heading into August. They are reportedly still very interested in finding a top-of-the-line arm on the market right now. Kelly, Alcantara, Cease, Kwan, all players that Bob Nightingale is reporting, and John Heyman as well, that they are looking to go after. What would you like to see them do if you're an Astros fan?
Yeah, I mean, the arms thing is interesting because they have so many pitchers, good pitchers, who are coming back from injury in August. It's J.P. France, Spencer Arrighetti, Luis Garcia, and Christian Javier. Now, they're all coming back from major injuries. You don't know how productive they're going to be. I think that they would like to kind of have three aces for the playoffs. When you look at Framber Valdez and Hunter Brown, if you grabbed somebody like Sandy Alcantara and he pitched the way he's capable of pitching, the way he's looked the last 2 times out here in his first season off Tommy John surgery, you might be looking at a trio of aces in the playoffs, and that's obviously what they're looking at there. Left field, you mentioned Stephen Kwan in that mix as well. Another area where they could shore that up, they could play Jose Altuve back at second base. You remember he moved to left field at the start of the year. Isaac Paredes is hurt at third base, might even be out for the rest of the season. That's where Correa fits. They've just had so many injuries. It's kind of remarkable that they're in first place. So when you have this many injuries, you have the wherewithal to go out and make these moves. Kind of a nice thing, isn't it, to have that much depth that you can make those kind of moves, and you also have a lot of guys coming back from injury. They could well be a force here late in the season.
Seen the Yankees make a couple of moves already today in their bullpen, requiring a reliever and a closer. The arms race is heating up here as we move around the 90-minute mark to the trade deadline. Here are our 9 top trade targets remaining. We mentioned that they might be trying to go out and get one of those top 3 guys in Kelly, Kwan, Alcantara, Cease as well. How many of these 9 do you think will be on the move by the time we're all said and done at 6 Eastern?
We're going to be just about half, 4 or 5 in there. Obviously, we can't go exactly half with 9, but 4 or 5, I think, is going to be the number. I think that Suarez and Cease are probably going to stay put, although A.J. Preller is a mad scientist, and I wouldn't put it by him. It sounds like the White Sox are going to hold on to Luis Robert there. Kwan's a wild card. Maybe it will get done, maybe it won't. Gallen and Kelly are definitely gone, and depending on what they get, I think that kind of dictates where the Marlins go with Alcantara and Cabrera there. They don't have to deal either one of those, but it's, let's say both Gallen and Merrill Kelly get big packages, and then somebody like the Cubs or Astros or both don't get starting pitchers in addition to the Yankees from either Gallen or Kelly, then I think they're going to start bowling teams over, because those 3 teams all want starting pitching. So a lot of that has to do with where Gallen and Kelly go, how much the Diamondbacks get back, and then if that kind of perks the Marlins up a little bit there with Alcantara and Cabrera, and like, hey, maybe we need to get involved in this. It's going to be really fun to see what the next 100 minutes hold here.
We have our live trade tracker going on right now at CBSSports.com, keeping you up to date with everything that's going on right up to the minute, and we'll continue to do so right here on HQ. At 6 o'clock Eastern Time, our Connecticut studio will take over with wall-to-wall coverage and winners and losers from the trade deadline as well. We'll also have a highlight from tonight's Hall of Fame game, the first preseason game in the NFL.
Go. The 2025 CBS Sports NFL schedule is here. 18 glorious Sundays.
He's got his receiver touchdown.
Filled with rematches.
Oh, the play of the year.
And rivalries.
Touchdown, Bengals.
Plus, plenty of superstar showdowns. And an epic matchup between the Chiefs and Cowboys on Thanksgiving. Clear your Sundays beginning September 7th for the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus.
Someone targeted our daughter.
What are we going to do about it? I've got an idea.
Let's go.
NCIS Tony and Ziva streaming this fall on Paramount Plus.
One of the best movies of the year is now streaming on Paramount Plus.
What are we dealing with here? There's a hostage situation. Get the crew in.
It's gripping from beginning to end.
We can't make one mistake.
September 5, now streaming on Paramount Plus.
The most original musical ever is now streaming on Paramount Plus.
I'm just giving the people what they want.
Better Man absolutely sizzles from start to finish. Better Man now streaming on Paramount Plus.
This is Chicago. Street's always gonna have a villain.
To protect the city, we have to do something. Women, it's time to get to work.
The Shot. New season streaming May 16th. Only on the Paramount Plus with Showtime plan.
These are the voyagers of the Patrick Starship Enterprise.
Where's the sponge?
Weird dream.
Whether you like SpongeBob, Star Trek, or both, find your mountain on Paramount Plus.
Hi. Novocaine?
Novocaine! Novocaine is now streaming on Paramount Plus.
You're gonna love this.
Oh, you're strong! It's wildly entertaining and an absolute blast.
I'm in.
Novocaine, rated R, now streaming on Paramount Plus.
I wasn't ready to die.
The wait is over.
I need to know what happened.
Discover the mystery everyone's been talking about. School Spirits, every episode of all seasons now streaming on Paramount Plus.
What's he like? The happy-faced killer?
You mean my dad? Be glad you never have to know.
You think that you're so much better than me. You're just like your old man.
I'm not like you at all.
Problem solved.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Mobland, new series now streaming on Paramount Plus.
She knows, and I know she knows. And that goes a little something like this. Here we go. Little something, little tune to play, make a good time
This just in, we're closing in on the Major League Baseball trade deadline, about 35, 40 minutes away from that. And still some big moves that teams are trying to make in these late stages. The Astros have already made one big move. They brought back Carlos Correa. 10 years ago, he was Rookie of the Year. 8 years ago, helped them win a World Series in 2017. They are reportedly in talks with the Padres and potentially bringing in Dylan Cease. And those talks are progressing, but we are starting to run out of time a little bit. The Padres are kind of in that weird position because they're a good team. They're acquiring, but also might be shipping out one of their top players as well. They went out and got relief pitcher Mason Miller earlier today, Ryan O'Hearn, an all-star as well. Now, the Texas Rangers reportedly were in on talks with Cease, but they have reportedly bowed out from those talks, and instead they're focusing on Diamondbacks pitcher Merrill Kelly, who on our CBSSports.com tracker right now is our #1 ranked trade target ahead of this deadline. And here you are. Merrill Kelly 1. Zach Gallen, also on the Diamondbacks, is #8. Sandy Alcantara has been the talk of trades for really the entire time, the whole month we've been leading up to the trade deadline, but still no movement yet. We did see former Cy Young winner Shane Bieber go from Cleveland to Toronto. He continues to rehab. His latest assignment was in the minors as he works his way back from injury over the last year and a half or so. The Yankees have made a couple big moves for arms in the pen. Jake Bird, relief pitcher, but David Bednar, the big one, a two-time All-Star over the last 3 seasons with the Pittsburgh Pirates. He's on his way to the Yankees. We'll keep you posted here on CBS Sports HQ and continue to follow our trade tracker at CBSSports.com.
Here we go. The 2025 CBS Sports NFL schedule is here. 18 glorious Sundays.
He's got his receiver touchdown.
Filled with rematches.
Oh, the play of the year.
And rivalries.
Touchdown, Bengals.
Plus, plenty of superstar showdowns. And an epic matchup between the Chiefs and Cowboys on Thanksgiving. Clear your Sundays beginning September 7th for the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus.
Someone targeted our daughter.
What are we going to do about it? I've got an idea.
Let's go.
NCIS, Tony and Ziva streaming this fall on Paramount Plus.
One of of the best movies of the year is now streaming on Paramount Plus.
What are we dealing with here? There's a hostage situation. Get the crew in.
It's gripping from beginning to end.
We can't make one mistake.
September 5, now streaming on Paramount Plus.
The most original musical ever is now streaming on Paramount Plus.
I'm just giving the people what they want.
Better Man absolutely sizzles from start to finish. Better Man now streaming on Paramount Plus.
This is Chicago. Streets always gonna have a villain.
To protect the city, we have to do something. Women, it's time to get to work.
The Shot. New season streaming May 16th. Only on the Paramount Plus with Showtime plan.
These are the voyagers of the Patrick Starship Enterprise.
Where's the sponge?
Weird dream.
Whether you like SpongeBob, Star Trek, or both, find your mountain on Paramount Plus.
Hi. Novocaine?
Novocaine!
Novocaine is now streaming on Paramount Plus.
You're gonna love this.
Oh, you're strong!
It's wildly entertaining and an absolute blast.
I'm in.
Novocaine, rated R, now streaming on Paramount Plus.
I wasn't ready to die.
The wait is over.
I need to know what happened.
Discover the mystery everyone's been talking about. School Spirits. Every episode of all seasons now streaming on Paramount Plus.
What's he like? The happy-faced killer?
You mean my dad? Be glad you never have to know.
You think that you're so much better than me. You're just like your old man.
I'm not like you at all.
Problem solved.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Mobland, new series now streaming on Paramount Plus.
She knows, and I know she knows. And that goes a little something like this. Here we go. Little something, little tune to play, make a good time
There are some things in life that you can't quite explain.
An extraordinary story.
Maybe it sounds flawless, looks effortless, or makes you feel like a part of history.
The first ever goal for BFC.
And when all of those phenomenons come together, it's perfect. Pitch perfect.
Sports news all the time.
We've got breaking news to bring to you.
CBS Sports HQ gives you a snapshot of all the sports that matter to you.
Big news coming out of the NFL. A lot of movement in the rankings this week.
With highlights.
What a finish at the final round of play.
And in-depth analysis.
Can they three-peat? Tony Romo joins the conversation.
What can you say about this game?
When you need your sports in a snap.
We're bringing you that breaking news right here on HQ.
Find it on CBS Sports HQ. Streaming free anywhere you are.
Breaking news ahead of the deadline, a big one for the Rangers. They've acquired starting pitcher Merrill Kelly from the Diamondbacks, and that really bolsters a rotation led by Jacob deGrom and Nathan Eovaldi. Kelly 9-6 this season, an ERA just over 3. He's pitched 128 innings so far. Let's get former World Series champ David Sampson in here, who ran the front office for the Marlins for many a year. David, you just told me off air you love this for the Rangers. Tell us why.
Well, you're fighting to get to October 1st in the American League, and you've caught Seattle. You're thinking you can try to catch Houston. And when you get into a series in October, despite what the Dodgers did in the World Series, where you got a bullpen game and you can't find a healthy starter, you want as many healthy starters as possible. And deGrom is healthy, Eovaldi is healthy, and those are top of the rotation guys. When you can have a Merrill Kelly start a game 3 or a game 4, come back for a game 7, you're talking about depth. And that sort of depth is what you need to win it all. And make no mistake, the Rangers won a World Series. They'd like to come back and win another World Series and start the talk of maybe another Texas dynasty. So I'm all in with what the Rangers are doing.
If you were laying it out right now, if the postseason was starting and you've got a 7-game series, how would you start their horses?
If I didn't need any of them, so I was starting everyone fresh on full rest, I want Jacob deGrom as my game 1 starter. I just find him, when he's healthy, is one of the best pitchers I saw over the course of my career. And that's saying something just because I got to watch, Randy Johnson and Greg Maddux. But Jacob deGrom is that when he's healthy. He's just not healthy all that much. But you said if healthy. Evaldi didn't get the All-Star nod, but really should have and got paid as though he did. He is someone who we traded for, and he is imagine him in a game 2. Just look at the rotations when you've got Seattle and Texas fighting right now. 2 phenomenal rotations. I would take both of those over the Astros rotation, and the Astros thinking that they got help by bringing Correa back is not probably the type of help that you would need, because that's just replacing, Paredes, who's out for the year. So for me, the teams behind you, when they get better, it's scary.
Yeah, looking at that division, the Mariners and Mariners and Rangers, I should say, are tied 5 games behind the Astros, and they're right there tied in the wild card as well for that last wild card spot. We have been referencing our rankings of the players on the trade block in their ranking of how good they could be with a new team, and we have Merrill Kelly #1. Do you agree with that?
Well, no. I would actually prefer to have one of the Marlins starting pitchers if you're looking at starters. And let's talk about Suarez as a back end of the bullpen guy. But keeping him, for me, if the Padres trade him, it's a mistake. Though I don't know where they're going to find all these roster spots. But you put him with Mason Miller, and you're trying to do what the Mets are trying to do, which is just lock it down. So when you can bridge from starter to closer and skip all the middle relief stuff, you like your chances. And the Marlins, they traded Sanchez to the Astros. I would assume they're trying to move both Alcantara and Cabrera. I just don't know if they'll get it done in the next 28 minutes, because I would also understand if the owner is saying, hey, we're playing really far better than we expected. Maybe we ought to hang in there, and moving Sanchez doesn't really crush us at all. But we'll see what happens here. But out of that list that you gave, Chris, I would say Sandy is probably the best one.
All right, that was 1 through 8, our top 8 players, with Kelly at the top. Zach Gallen, also a Diamondbacks pitcher, still a member of the Diamondbacks as of now with just about 25 minutes to go. How important is it for them to be able to move him, and who do you think should be going after him right now?
He's a 558 guy for me. You cannot have him on your team at 602. You're selling, and that's totally fine. It's not the season you wanted. You had Corbin Burns signed. He got hurt. It is what it is. Sometimes it just doesn't work out, and you've got to figure out how to move your free agents to be. If you want to get Suarez or Gallen or Kelly, you want to get him back, get him back. Do what the Yankees did with Aroldis Chapman. Trade him to the Cubs, let him win a World Series, and then bring him back. But you can't have Zach Gallen on your team. Start the young, start someone young. Give the ball to anybody over these last 2 months, because your season's done. I would assume Gallen gets moved. You just have to lower your asking price as the minutes head towards 6 p.m.
You mentioned the Astros and how you're not a big fan of how they brought in a guy who might be over the hill right now in Carlos Correa, who was a part of a World Series team in 2017. But they're also reportedly closing in on potentially bringing in Dylan Cease. What would that do for you as the Astros sit there 5 games ahead of everybody else in that division?
Yeah, so on nothing personal, I said that if I'm the Padres, I'm not trading Dylan Cease, because I don't want to get less depth in my rotation when I've shored up my bullpen. If I'm going, I want to go, and that means I'm going to want Dylan Cease, and if I lose him, I lose him at the end of the year. The Padres have never been scared to lose somebody before, and so I don't know why they'd move him. That said, if they're going to move him, you got to look at all the injuries that are happening with the Astros, and the moves they've made, fine. You know, getting a reunion with a player like Correa, it's, you know, we'll see how much money they took on. I'm not a huge fan of trying to, you know, recapture the glory of your younger days, and the reason I know that, Chris, is I try to do it all the time, both in baseball and in my personal life, and it's super hard to do. But both ways. So I just don't know if that reunion is in the best interests of the player. And we didn't even talk about the funniest thing. Correa's saying, I've got a no trade clause in the I don't want to be here because the Twins aren't trying to win, but I'll only go to the Astros. You know, give me a small break. Either you're willing to leave or you're not willing to leave. But I think the Astros getting starting pitching would be necessary because look at their rearview mirror, man. The Mariners and the Rangers are just good.
David Sampson really loves what the Rangers just did in getting Merrill Kelly from the Diamondbacks. More with David in just a little bit here on HQ as we look at our trade tracker right now. You can follow along at cbssports.com with the live trade tracker. And we will have guests like David, Jim Bowden on all throughout the evening with the deadline coming up in just 24 minutes now, the Major League Baseball trade deadline, and still teams trying to make things happen and potentially for this starting pitcher for the Miami Marlins. But will he be a Marlin come 6 o'clock Eastern? David says Alcantara is the #1 player available right now. More on that next.
Go. The 2025 CBS Sports NFL schedule is here. 18 glorious Sundays.
He's got his receiver touchdown.
Filled with rematches.
Oh, the play of the year.
And rivalries.
Touchdown, Bengals.
Plus, plenty of superstar showdowns. And an epic matchup between the Chiefs and Cowboys on Thanksgiving. Clear your Sundays beginning September 7th for the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus.
Someone targeted our daughter.
What are we going to do about it? I've got an idea.
Let's go.
NCIS, Tony and Ziva streaming this fall on Paramount Plus.
One of the best movies of the year is now streaming on Paramount Plus.
What are we dealing with here? There's a hostage situation. Get the crew in.
It's gripping from beginning to end.
We can't make one mistake.
September 5, now streaming on Paramount Plus.
The most original musical ever is now streaming on Paramount Plus.
I'm just giving the people what they want.
Better Man absolutely sizzles from start to finish. Better Man now streaming on Paramount Plus.
This is Chicago. The street's always gonna have a villain.
To protect the city, we have to do something. Women, it's time to get to work.
The Shot, new season streaming May 16th, only on the Paramount Plus with Showtime plan.
These are the voyagers of the Patrick Starship Enterprise.
Where's the sponge?
We're dream.
Whether you like SpongeBob, Star Trek, or both, find your mountain on Paramount Plus.
Hi. Novocaine?
Novocaine!
Novocaine is now streaming on Paramount Plus.
You're gonna love this.
Oh, you're strong.
It's wildly entertaining and an absolute blast.
I'm in.
Novocaine, rated R, now streaming on Paramount Plus.
I wasn't ready to die.
The wait is over.
I need to know what happened.
Discover the mystery everyone's been talking about. School Spirits. Every episode of all seasons now streaming on Paramount Plus.
What's he like? The happy-faced killer?
You mean my dad? Be glad you never have to know.
You think that you're so much better than me. You're just like your old man.
I'm not like you at all.
Broke himself.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Mobland, new series now streaming on Paramount Plus.
She knows, and I know she knows. And that goes a little something like this. Here we go. Little something, little tune to play, make a good time
Breaking news here on CBS Sports HQ. We are just 21 minutes, a little less, from the Major League Baseball trade deadline. Taking a look at the trade tracker, what has been going on when it comes today. One of the very latest things we have happened, the Diamondbacks starting pitcher Merrill Kelly has been dealt to the Texas Rangers. Our David Sampson saying he absolutely loves that for their rotation. Also in the AL West, Carlos Correa headed home back to the Astros and the team that drafted him, also where he won the World Series. Top trade targets remaining. Merrill Kelly no longer on that list. Stephen Kwan, the Guardian, still trying to move him. But we're going to start with number 3, Sandy Alcantara with the Marlins. Former Cy Young winner still has not been moved. It's been up and down, David, over the past week, whether or not he will be moved. Look, he hasn't quite been the same since he had surgery, but over the past several weeks, he's been really showing out. Finally went 7 innings. Where could he go? Does he get dealt in the next 20 minutes?
Boy, the Marlins have a serious thing to think about because they have been overperforming. And when you look at the July they had going 15-10, they're really on the fringes of the race, and it is unlikely they're going to make the playoffs. And Sandy Alcantara has 2 years of control left at what is now a reasonable $17 million for a few teams. The question is, do you have the guts to make that sort of trade? The Sanchez trade today didn't really matter. It's not going to get anyone in an uproar. But with Sandy, it's sort of your link to the past, someone who was a part of the potential for greatness. When you're coming back from Tommy John, Amanda, you're going to have good days and bad days. That is normal. But the thought is, with him healthy, next season he will be more consistently the Sandy that we know, the Cy Young Award winner that we know, the innings eater, quality innings eater that we know. There are teams that need that. You look at what has happened with Seattle and Texas. If you're Houston, you have a payroll issue for sure, but you also have a starting pitching issue. And if you want to keep your 5-game lead in that division, you're going to want to bolster that rotation. Go over to the West. The Dodgers, I can't imagine that they wouldn't have an interest. The Cubs, the Brewers. The problem with the Brewers, it's the extra $17 million over the course of the next 2 years, but the Cubs would be able to fit that. So what you're really trying to figure out, here's a crazy one, Amanda. The Diamondbacks could actually be a buyer of Sandy because Corbin Burns is going to come back, and there's an opportunity for them to compete again, but it wasn't this year. That's the beauty of the deadline, is that you've got to be thinking today, and you've got to be thinking tomorrow, and you've got about 17.2 minutes to do it.
Okay, so take us into the front office, and you mentioned when it comes to the Marlins just how difficult of a decision this is for him. By the way, Sandy Alcantara, when he was asked about this in the past couple days, got very emotional, saying he actually does want to stay in South Florida. This is my home. This is where my family is. This is where I want to stay. Not really up to him so much. So you have a former Cy Young winner coming off the Tommy John surgery. As you mentioned, he's your link to the postseason, potentially. What are you looking for? What is the deal that's going to come in where you say, okay, yes, here you go, you can have him?
So that's the point, is that you put deals together with teams in your trade deadline room, and if you expect someone to hit the exact bid, it really doesn't work that way often, but you want to get as close as possible. The question is, do the Marlins have to move Sandy the way, in my opinion, the Diamondbacks have to move Zach Gallen, which we've talked about before? And to me, the answer is probably no, they don't have to, but it would be better for them to move him, because when their next real window opens, which really isn't this year, but it could be as early as next year, with their position players who are getting more mature, getting better. They've got pitching behind Sandy that they can slot in. That's pre-arbitration eligible. That will not cost you $17 million. So for me, I would say that I would swallow hard and move them. Of course, people will say, well, Samson, you traded everybody. Well, we were buyers more often than we were sellers at the deadline, and often we got criticized for that because we traded good young minor leaguers who became performing major leaguers. So you're trying to fill your pipeline, if you're the Marlins, with close to major league ready and then you backfill it with other prospects that you hope you hit on one of them, because the Marlins have not really hit on as many as they would have liked, notwithstanding the Orioles trade for Rogers, where they got Stowers. Norby didn't make it, but Stowers has, obviously, as he had a phenomenal July, and he's an all-star. But you're trying to get an all-star back if you can.
I believe Giancarlo Stanton, that name will ring a bell to you, David. We were talking earlier today to Matt Snyder about some of the biggest what-ifs in trade history. You know, what if Albert Pujols ended up being with the Braves, things like that. If you do go ahead, if you're the Marlins and you trade away Alcantara, first of all, how mad are Marlins fans going to be? But if he goes on and he gets back to where he was, say, in 2022, is this going to be a bust of a trade if you don't get the return you want?
I mean, of course, Amanda, when the players don't work out, you look terrible. It's a bust of a trade, but you do the best trade you can at the time. That's why I don't love the segment that you're going to ask me to do. Who won the deadline? It's 5:45 for crying out loud. I can't tell you on the deadline until October, and then I'm still not willing to tell you because I want to see how the young players work out. Are you sure the Padres won today? Are you positive? The answer is no one really knows. And in terms of fans being angry, are you more or less angry with the players you want but losing, or are you more or less angry with the players you didn't think you wanted but then you're winning? Remember, the trades that teams make, every team, every front office person, including the Hall of Famers, have made trades that they regret. Every one of us. We've won trades, we've lost trades, and we've done that at the deadline, off-season, winter meetings, GM meetings. It just feels differently when it's your team because you feel as though no one else, like the Twins, oh my God, they're selling. Give me a break.
The Nationals not trading Bryce Harper to the Astros rings a bell. You got nothing in return for him. Chris Hassel has a question, so I'm going to let him jump in here.
I've been interested in this with these deadlines, and you see the clock ticking down.
Tick, tick,
David,
tick,
when
tick.
you're in the office and you're getting close, like you're trying to unload somebody, you're trying to bring somebody in, and you're getting to the final seconds, is there like somebody from the league in there that's like, all right, shut your phones off, it's 6 o'clock, it's over? What happens? How do you know?
So we've got people assigned to different tasks in the trade deadline room. We've got a junior baseball person who's got the commissioner's office on hold because you have to get the trades into the commissioner's office by 6 p.m. However, wink, wink, they don't want you to know, we've gotten the trade done at 6:02 and 6:03 before, and they'll approve it. So you have to keep that very, very quiet. But you may see some trades come in after 6. Then we have someone on the phone with our trainers because you have to exchange medical before the trade happens. And then we've got someone on the phone to the owner because you got to get the owner approval. So you have 3 people on 3 phones. You see the clock at 12 minutes. Then you've got the president of baseball ops calling the other team's GM, and you've got the AGM texting the AGM saying, dudes, we got 11 minutes. Are you in or are you out? We're not moving. And then we get a text back, forget it, we're out, or okay, we're in. Oh, by the way, Hassel, we have letter agreements that are pre-written with the trades we want to do, and they're by computer. You send them by email to get them executed so that the trade can actually happen. All that's happening now with 12 minutes to go.
Fascinating stuff. Fascinating as we count down to the deadline at 6 o'clock Eastern time.
All right, we are now at 12 minutes, about to be a little bit under that. Let's talk about the Guardians. They are still trying to move, or at least fielding offers for Stephen Kwan. They already moved Shane Bieber. Do you think we see this get done in the next couple of minutes?
Well, 2 totally different things. Shane Bieber coming off Tommy John. I'm now hated in Toronto, and I love my peeps in Toronto. All I said on the Blair and Barker show today is Bieber's not a #1 starter anymore. He's coming off Tommy John. He's rarely, if ever, healthy. He's still rehabbing in AA, and it's going to be inconsistent performance. I don't view him as like a Game 1 starter, and it's like the world fell apart. But so Bieber, that's one thing. Kwan, they never had to move him. If someone hits the exact bid, this is when you have a trade agreement with the team and you know the exact players you want, and either you get it or you don't. There is no reason for them to move Kwon unless it's perfect. And if it's perfect, you can bet your sweet Bippy it's going to be an overpay because that's how good the Cleveland front office is. So I'm not at all surprised if Kwon is still a Guardian in 10 minutes and 49 seconds.
Okay, so Kwon, they don't have to move him per se. The White Sox, should they move, or do they have to move Luis Robert Jr.?
How would you not? What are the White Sox doing? If you can, hold on, let me put a mirror to my nose. All right, I'm breathing. All right, we'll take that guy. If you can get someone to take the money, get rid of the money, you're going to lose $110 again. It's not going to be part of, you had that window with the players that you thought you had built something that was going to win. It didn't. Time to move on. It's staggering to me that they have not adjusted what their ask is in order to hit someone's bid. But again, we've got 10 minutes and 42 seconds or 10 minutes and 15 seconds, so it could still happen. But he should not be on the Chicago roster after 6 p.m. Eastern.
David, we've talked about so many names right now. Is there anything we're missing, do you think? A guy, a name that really needs to be moved, a team that is, you know, not going to make the postseason or just not do as well the second half of the season down the line that we're missing?
I think that you got to look at what the Yankees and Red Sox are doing, and the fact of the matter is the Red Sox, breaking news, I believe, are acquiring Dustin May from the Los Angeles Dodgers. Don't hold me to it. I'm not an insider, but that's just the rumor I'm hearing. And if it's true, it's just interesting that the Red Sox traded away Devers. They were told that they want to win now. The fan base was despondent. Meanwhile, the Giants stink, and they've got Devers on their team. They're total sellers. If they could undo that, my guess is they would. And the Red Sox are improving, and they are in position to actually make a postseason run and maybe even win the AL East. And adding May, he's not a top of the rotation guy. He is clearly a middle of the rotation guy, but you're just looking for people to get you innings, quality innings. And so that type of trade interests me. I'm not sure if you're the Dodgers and you watched the World Series last year, why you're not hoarding starting pitchers, although maybe Andrew Friedman looks at it and says, hey, I've got a huge ring and I can't even remember who started any of the games against the Yankees, so we're okay.
Talk to me a little bit more about the Red Sox. They are, in fact, according to all the reports that we are now seeing, getting Dustin May, as you said, not a top of the rotation guy, a middle of the rotation guy. Our good friend Will Middlebrooks, obviously World Series champ with the Red Sox, said if they want to make a run, they have to get another rotation guy. So they go ahead and get this. Look, still in the standings when you take a look at the Red Sox, they're still 5 games behind the Blue Jays. Is this enough for them? I mean, you got 9 minutes left. Do you need to make another move if you're the Red Sox?
Yeah, that's a depth piece, Amanda. That's what Dustin May is. That's all he is. He's not a difference-making pitcher whatsoever. And you can take Sandy off the board because the Marlins have basically announced that you're going to be 8 minutes and Sandy's still going to be on your team. And they chose to keep going for it this year. I get it. There's such a desire by the owner to push Bruce Sherman and to show that Derek Jeter, you know, didn't know what he was doing. There's such a push to make the fans happy down there. The Yankees are coming to town this weekend. They're retiring and putting Jack McKeon into the Hall of Fame. So I get what the Marlins are doing. I get why the Red Sox would add depth, middle of the rotation depth. Remember, Amanda, every team has a specific set of goals going into the deadline, and the smartest teams stick to those goals. Whether they're right or wrong, time will always tell. But sticking to your plan and not panicking with 8 minutes left becomes really important.
I think well, I always think the AL West is interesting because I'm a Rangers fan. 3 of those teams, the Rangers, the Astros, and the Mariners, they have all made major moves. Eugenio Suarez is now with the Mariners. They also have Josh Naylor there. We talked about Carlos Correa going home to the Astros. The Rangers are getting Merrill Kelly. They're helping their rotation there. Out of these 3 teams, you have the Mariners and the Rangers, 5 games behind the Astros. How do you see things playing out toward the end of the season?
The Rangers all of a sudden remember how to hit, and they're scoring runs. And then you look at their rotation, and you say to yourself, wow, there's not an off day there to be found. And so if you're clubbing 5 to 6 runs a game, and you've got starters who you believe can pitch you to below a 3 ERA where their top 3 starters can, I believe that means you're going to win a lot of games. Now, the Mariners are in my mind, they're no schleppers. Bringing in Suarez, the reunion that we talked about that doesn't always work, he's a total rental. Naylor's a total rental. You're showing the fans, Jerry Dipoto is, and the great owner there, Stanton, that, hey, we have an opportunity here. Let's see if we can support this great pitching staff that we never were able to support offensively. And so you put their offense with Raleigh and Arozarena, wow, and Naylor and Suarez. That is a tough lineup. The question is, can the pitching stay healthy and will they perform? If so, what an amazing race it's going to be down the stretch. The Astros have that 5-game head start, but with about 60 to go, it really is anybody's division. And frankly, they could all make the playoffs. If I'm the Yankees, that's what I'm most nervous about, is that the Rangers and Mariners will both pass me and that I won't win the division and won't even be a wild card.
All right, David, just about 5 minutes left. Chris has another question for you.
So the Yankees are playing right now. They're playing the Rays. They're up 7-4 in the top of the 7th inning. And an interesting circumstance is happening in this game right now, according to the Yes Network.
It always happens every year. Something weird.
There's only one game going on right now.
A teammate's got to go.
But Jack Curry says that the Yankees have acquired Jose Caballero from the Rays for Everson Pereira. Caballero is going to be pulled from the game. He's just going to have to walk from one side to the other. He leads the majors with 34 stolen bases. David, were you ever in a situation where you traded somebody who was playing in a game at that moment?
I'd have to assume that we've traded guys certainly before they took the field and they were dressed. I do know that. But actually we've pulled minor leaguers from games for sure, where they're in the middle of the game and then we trade them. I don't remember if we pulled a major leaguer before. I also don't remember whether we had someone go from clubhouse to clubhouse, because that's awesome when that happens. And we saw that happen just yesterday in the middle of a doubleheader with the Blue Jays and the Orioles. But the reason why Major League Baseball doesn't want games on deadline day is this.
And yet they still do it. Yankees and Rays playing right now. We're going to have to get out of the way here because the deadline's coming up in just a couple of minutes, and our Connecticut studio is going to be taken over. Julian McWilliams is on set. Jim Bowden is there. Hakeem Dermish as well. For Amanda Guerra, thanks for jumping in.
You're welcome.
I'm Chris
Happy
Hassel.
to be here.
More coverage coming up.
Go. The 2025 CBS Sports NFL schedule is here. 18 glorious Sundays.
He's got his receiver touchdown.
Filled with rematches.
Oh, the play of the year.
And rivalries.
Touchdown, Bengals.
Plus, plenty of superstar showdowns. And an epic matchup between the Chiefs and Cowboys on Thanksgiving. Clear your Sundays beginning September 7th for the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus.
Someone targeted our daughter.
What are we going to do about it? Got an idea?
Let's go.
NCIS Tony and Ziva streaming this fall on Paramount Plus.
One of the best movies of the year is now streaming on Paramount Plus.
What are we dealing with here? There's a hostage situation. Get the crew in.
It's gripping from beginning to end.
We can't make one mistake.
September 5, now streaming on Paramount Plus.
The most original musical ever is now streaming on Paramount Plus.
I'm just giving the people what they want.
Better Man absolutely sizzles from start to finish. Better Man now streaming on Paramount Plus.
This is Chicago. Streets always gonna have a villain.
To protect the city, we have to do something. Women, it's time to get to work.
The Shot. New season streaming May 16th. Only on the Paramount Plus with Showtime plan.
These are the voyagers of the Patrick Starship Enterprise.
Where's the sponge?
Weird dream.
Whether you like SpongeBob, Star Trek, or both, find your mountain on Paramount Plus.
Hi. Novocaine?
Novocaine!
Novocaine is now streaming on Paramount Plus.
You're gonna love this.
Oh, you're strong.
It's wildly entertaining and an absolute blast.
I'm in.
Novocaine, rated R, now streaming on Paramount Plus.
I wasn't ready to die.
The wait is over.
I need to know what happened.
Discover the mystery everyone's been talking about. School Spirits. Every episode of all seasons now streaming on Paramount+.
What's he like? The happy-faced killer?
You mean my dad? Be glad you never have to know.
You think that you're so much better than me. You're just like your old man.
I am not like you at all.
Broke himself.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Mobland, new series now streaming on Paramount+.
She knows, and I know she knows. And that goes a little something like this. Here we go. Little something, little tune to play, make a good time
sports news all the time?
We've got breaking news to bring to you.
CBS Sports HQ gives you a snapshot of all the sports that matter to you.
Big news coming out of the NFL. A lot of movement in the rankings this week.
With highlights.
What a finish at the final round of play.
And in-depth analysis.
Can they three-peat? Tony Romo joins the conversation.
What can you say about this game?
When you need your sports in a snap.
We're bringing you that breaking news right here on HQ.
Find it on CBS Sports HQ. Streaming free anywhere you are.
The world of sports never sleeps, and neither do we. Welcome to CBS Sports HQ Morning Buzz, Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. You can catch up on the latest storylines and highlights with expert analysis to get you dialed in. So grab your coffee and kickstart your day off right. With Morning Buzz, only on CBS Sports HQ.
The MLB Trade Deadline has passed, and we saw a flurry of massive moves. We have multiple trades to talk about. One of the busiest trade deadlines in recent memory. Carlos Correa headed back to Houston. The Padres get Mason Miller. Yankees are getting David Bednar. They're also getting Camilo Doval from the Giants. The Blue Jays picked up Shane Bieber. The Astros just making moves as well, and the Padres loading up. They added to their lineup, getting Ryan O'Hearn and Ramon Laureano from the Orioles. The Phillies made a deal yesterday to get Yohan Duran. They get Harrison Bader, some outfield help there. The Tigers getting a pair of relievers in Kyle Finnegan, Paul Sewald. The Mets got Ryan Helsley and Tyler Rogers yesterday. They pick up Cedric Mullins, who will slot in as their starting center fielder. The Dodgers get Brock Stewart. There are so many moves that have happened over the last 2 hours. My head is spinning. The Rangers picking up Merrill Kelly. Also got Phil Maton as well. The Cubs picking up infielder Willie Castro. The Red Sox getting Dustin May. The amount of moves here is incredible, because what this tells you is a bevy of teams are in on trying to contend to get into the postseason, and these teams making an absolute run at the deadline. Welcome in our heavy hitters. CBS Sports national baseball reporter Julian McWilliams here in studio, and let's welcome in former MLB Executive of the Year Jim Bowden. We start with Carlos Correa, one of the biggest names to be dealt. He's going back to Houston. Jim, your reaction is what, how this deal came together?
Yeah, I mean, Carlos Correa told the Twins he would only waive his no-trade clause for one place, and that would be a return home to Houston. And the fact that the Astros learned yesterday that Isaac Paredes not only would be out for the rest of the year, but that his hamstring was so bad that he was going to miss 7 or 8 months. They hope he's ready for opening day next year. But they knew, after watching what the Seattle Mariners had just done at the deadline, what the Texas Rangers pitching staff has looked like all year, they knew that they had to sit there and do something of impact. And they believe they've done that with Carlos Correa. Now, he has agreed to play third base. Jeremy Pena is going to play short. So Carlos is going to move to third base. You know, look, he's 30 years old. He has had to deal with a lot of injuries the last couple of years. I'm sure they did the due diligence. We don't know how much money of his contract that the Twins are willing to pay down, but we understand they have paid some of it down. But for the Astros, you know, they didn't get the starter they wanted, but they got the left-handed bat in the trade with the Marlins with Jesus Jesus Sanchez, you add that with Correa, that is certainly going to help this offense the next couple of months.
He rejoins the club that drafted him first overall in 2012, third season of a 6-year deal. Julian helped them win the World Series in 2017. Going to move to third base, as you heard Jim mention, with the impending return of Jeremy Pena coming back from a fractured rib. And they also got Jesus Sanchez at the deadline from the Marlins. You look at what the Astros did. This feels like a clear winner among the clubs at the deadline.
Certainly. And you underestimate the leader that Carlos Correa was for that team. Keep in mind, he was a guy that played shortstop with them. He led them through that sign-stealing scandal in terms of being outspoken and being the guy that was sort of the go-to guy for the media. And I think for Carlos himself, it brings on a sense of he'll be able to play in a place where he's familiar with and possibly be able to recapture some of his old spark.
Houston leading the division right now. They're 5 clear, but they've got plenty of company with Seattle and Texas right behind them. Also making a move right at the deadline, the Yankees continue to fortify their bullpen. The Yankees acquiring relief pitcher Camilo Doval from the Giants. That's according to our Jim Bowden. Doval had 104 saves over the past 4 seasons for San Francisco. Yankees also landed Rays infielder Jose Caballero shortly before the deadline as well. They picked up David Bednar. They also got a reliever from the Colorado Rockies as well. Jim, what the Yankees did here, at one point you're going, okay, this is nice. And now what they did here, they made a clear upgrade to their bullpen.
Yeah, they certainly did. And look, Brian Cashman didn't get the starting pitcher that he was hoping to get because he refused to put Spencer Jones in the deal with the Marlins to get either Sandy Alcantara or Edward Cabrera. And that is why that deal didn't work. In fact, Brian Cashman's view was the only player that he would put Spencer Jones in a deal for would have been Paul Skeens at the Pirates and moved him. So they weren't able to get the starter. So he said, you know what, I'll pivot. I'll go to the bullpen. And he did a great job, without a doubt. I mean, David Bednar is pitching great right now. I saw him over the weekend throwing 96 miles an hour. The stuff completely back. But you put him with Devin Williams and Luke Weaver in the back end. That's a really good threesome. And then you add to that Doval and Jake Bird from the Rockies, who is a solid veteran pitcher. All of a sudden, you now have depth. And don't forget, they're also expected to get both Mark Leiter Jr. and Fernando Cruz back in the middle of August when they are done their rehab. So the Yankees have built this bullpen they learned last year as they got to the World Series against the Dodgers and ended up losing in that series. They understood how important it is to have depth and quality in the pen. They did that. I also like their move earlier to get third baseman Ryan McMahon, really good defender at third, and his swing looks like it's going to really work there at Yankee Stadium. So it was a really good trade deadline for GM Brian Cashman.
Yankees bullpen ERA 6.29. Awful in July, and now they get Bednar. Now they get Doval. They get White from Colorado, Jake Bird from Colorado. This is a clear move saying, hey, we're not just going to roll over in the division. We still have a chance to win the AL East.
Yeah, and I think an underrated part of the trade deadline with the relievers in particular is the fact that they're sort of these guys, when you get to the playoffs, a lot of them can pitch every day, right? Because you get them in those situations where you might use them for a batter or the 3 batters or so or an inning or so. Closers can pitch every day. And I think that's an underrated part of the game that we're talking about here. So you look at the Yankees, their starting pitching has been, I think, pretty good for the most part of the year, even without Garrett Cole. You have Max Fried there. You have all these guys that are able to come in there and pitch 5-6 innings. Now you're able to match that with the bullpen. Suddenly the game becomes a little bit shorter. The middle relievers were struggling, right, toward the middle of the season. They were struggling now up until yesterday. So I think if you're looking at this team and what they've added, I had them at a C- as my grade, but I think I might need to bump that up a little bit.
All right, well, they certainly make a move here to get better in the bullpen, which is something they needed to do. The Texas Rangers needing to get another starter to add on to Nathan Eovaldi and Jacob deGrom, and they get Merrill Kelly from the Diamondbacks. A really nice move here for the Rangers. He allowed 9 earned on April 3rd. Since then, he's got a 2.71 ERA, has allowed 2 or fewer earned runs in 14 of 20 starts. Eovaldi and deGrom have allowed 3 earned or less in 18 straight starts. So, Jim, when you look at what the Texas Rangers, who are 9-3 since the All-Star break, tied with the Mariners for the final wild card spot, this was a need, and they went out and got one of the best pitchers on the market.
Yeah, they made the moves at the buzzer, and Kelly is probably one of the most underrated pitchers that was traded at the deadline because of how consistent he's been the last few years. You know what you're getting. He's a veteran guy, and he's going to fit really well in that rotation. And when you have DeGrom and you have Evaldi in that pitching room, and your GM, Chris Young, was a former pitcher too, it's just a really great spot for Kelly. He'll fit in that culture really well. That was huge. And they also picked up left-handed reliever Danny Colomb from the Minnesota Twins, and that was a big pickup. Look, they really needed to get a closer. They weren't able to get one because the asking prices were so high. But to be able to go get Colomb along with Kelly makes for a really strong end of the deadline. And I thought they had to do it, Akeem. Now, if you remember back in March, I picked the Rangers to win this division, right? And I stayed with the Rangers the whole time. But after the Mariners GM, Jerry DiPoto, went out there and got Josh Naylor and Eugenio Suarez here at the deadline, I now have the Mariners 1, Rangers 2, Astros 3, and I actually think right now the Mariners have as good a team as any in the American League.
Yeah, I would take the Mariners lineup over anybody right now. Breaking news coming in just at the deadline. The Twins are sending Griffin Jax to the Rays. Jax 1-5 with a 4.5 ERA, but he has 38 scoreless appearances this season. 2.08 FIP. Fielding independent is 4th best among relief pitchers. 14.09 strikeouts per 9 innings, which is 3rd best in all of baseball. You look here at the Twins being an absolute seller. Let me just run through who the Twins traded away. Carlos Correa, Yohan Duran, Brock Stewart, Danny Colomb, Harrison Bader, Chris Paddock, Randy Dobnak, and now Griffin Jax. This is a team that you felt like would contend in the AL Central, Julian, and they've just clearly said, we're out, we're done, we're done, we're out. I mean, this is clearly what they did. They said, we are going to be sellers, and we are going to get rid of guys who are on expiring contracts.
Yeah, with the exception of, I know Joe Ryan's been in a lot of talks, but when I spoke to somebody, they said that, no, they want to possibly build around him, but I don't know what you have left to necessarily build around, right?
Got Byron Buxton
and I guess, who else? I mean, Joe Ryan, right? I mean, but Pablo Lopez, I think those are the only 3 guys that I can think of.
Royce Lewis.
Royce Lewis, okay. So, but it's a total disappointment because this was a team that you looked at when they signed Carlos Correa. It was like they're turning the corner. They're getting to a point where they're going to be the team to beat in this division. And suddenly everybody around them just got better. Right? Everybody around them just kind of got better, and we're leaning on their superstars. Carlos Correa was a disappointment. Byron Buxton, I know he hasn't been healthy for much of, he's been healthy this year, but he hasn't been healthy for much of his career. Royce Lewis hasn't been healthy. So all these things, their team was up for a sale.
Yep.
So all these things just compounded, and I think if you have, in this case, it created somewhat of a bad culture there. And I think it's tough for players to play in a place where you know your owner's not going to spend, and all of a sudden you're getting underperformance from your stars like Carlos Correa. This is a total disappointment for me.
Well, the sellers among the biggest sellers in baseball, Jim.
Yeah, I think the one thing to keep in mind, the team is being sold, and so to be able to clean out the payroll during the sale of the club is something that the incoming owners may have wanted to have happen. It's going to really hurt how competitive the Twins are going to be the last 2 months because they had one of the best bullpens in baseball. Everybody in baseball was trying to get their relievers at the deadline, of which a lot of them did, right? 4 of their best relievers were all traded here at the deadline, so it's going to be tough for them to try to mix and match and stay competitive. But I think when you have an ownership change, sometimes it's better to clear the decks, get the money off the payroll, and start fresh this offseason. I have a lot of confidence in the leadership of Derek Falvey and Jeremy Zoll. I know it was a very difficult deadline for them, but keep in mind, this was a seller's market. The Twins did really well in building for the future here, just like the Orioles have done really well, and so have the Diamondbacks. And I think we haven't seen sellers do this well in years. This is a big change, and it's good for baseball. Anytime you can have this kind of trade deadline, that's going to help get parity quicker in the next 3 or 4 years. You know, we have the amateur draft because we want to make sure that the bad teams pick in the front of the draft and the good teams in the back so that teams can then rebuild. Well, that's what this trade deadline was supposed to do, and it hasn't been that way over the last several years. This year was special, and the reason we had so many trades is because the sellers had a real reason to sell because they did really well in the returns.
Incredible deadline. We haven't even gotten to one of the biggest trades of the day, Mason Miller heading to the Padres. We're going to talk about that next. Did they give up too much? That's what's being discussed. What's the plan for Mason Miller ahead in San Diego? But they just got one of the best closers in all of baseball. The MLB trade deadline has passed, and we saw an absolute bevy of moves. We're back after the break. Keep it locked. You're watching CBS Sports HQ.
Go. The 2025 CBS Sports NFL schedule is here. 18 glorious Sundays.
He's got his receiver touchdown.
Filled with rematches.
Oh, the play of the year.
And rivalries.
Touchdown, Bengals.
Plus, plenty of superstar showdowns. And an epic matchup between the Chiefs and Cowboys on Thanksgiving. Clear your Sundays beginning September 7th for the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus.
Someone targeted our daughter.
What are we going to do about it? I've got an idea.
Let's go.
NCIS Tony and Ziva streaming this fall on Paramount Plus.
One of the best movies of the year is now streaming on Paramount Plus.
What are we dealing with here? There's a hostage situation. Get the crew in.
It's gripping from beginning to end.
We can't make one mistake.
September 5, now streaming on Paramount Plus.
The most original musical ever is now streaming on Paramount Plus.
I'm just giving the people what they want.
Better Man absolutely sizzles from start to finish. Better Man now streaming on Paramount Plus.
This is Chicago. Streets always gonna have a villain.
To protect the city, we have to do something. Women, it's time to get to work.
The Shy. New season streaming May 16th. Only on the Paramount Plus with Showtime plan.
These are the voyagers of the Patrick Starship Enterprise. Where's the sponge?
Weird dream.
Whether you like SpongeBob, Star Trek, or both, find your mountain on Paramount Plus.
Hi. Novocaine?
Novocaine!
Novocaine is now streaming on Paramount Plus.
You're gonna love this.
Oh, you're strong!
It's wildly entertaining and an absolute blast.
I'm in.
Novocaine, rated R, now streaming on Paramount Plus.
I wasn't ready to die.
The wait is over.
I need to know what happened.
Discover the mystery everyone's been talking about. School Spirits, every episode of all seasons now streaming on Paramount Plus.
What's he like? The happy-faced killer?
You mean my dad? Be glad you never have to know.
You think that you're so much better than me. You're just like your old man.
I'm not like you at all.
Problem solved.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Mobland, new series now streaming on Paramount Plus.
She knows, and I know she knows. And that goes a little something like this. Here we go. Little something, little tune to play, make a good time
The MLB trade deadline has passed, and a flurry of massive moves as you take a look at the biggest sellers at the deadline. The Twins, who are up for sale as a franchise, among the biggest sellers. The Orioles trading Ramon Laureano, Ryan O'Hearn to San Diego. Cedric Mullins headed to the Mets along with Gregory Soto as well. The Diamondbacks did not part ways with Zach Gallen, but they did trade 3 of the 4 biggest trade chips. Josh Naylor, Geno Suarez, and Merrill Kelly. Merrill Kelly headed to the Texas Rangers. And we mentioned what the Padres did. They made a lot of moves among the buyers at the deadline. Their biggest move, getting Mason Miller, J.P. Sears, as I mentioned, Ramon Laureano, Ryan O'Hearn. That lineup instantly becomes elite as if it wasn't already. Freddie Fermin, you got Martin Maldonado there in San Diego as well. Perhaps they trade or turn Mason Miller into a starter. They did it before with Michael King, Seth Lugo, so it's possible he's under team control through 2029. You see the Mets, they got an upgrade in their bullpen with Tyler Rogers, Ryan Helsley, Gregory Soto, Cedric Mullins, instantly their starting center fielder, and the Astros reuniting with Carlos Correa, Jesus Sanchez, and some more infield help in Ramon Urias. But the Padres making an absolute splash. We know their GM, AJ Preller, likes to wheel and deal. All right, back here with CBS Sports national baseball reporter Julian McWilliams and former MLB Executive of the Year Jim Bowden. Jim, one of the biggest trades of the day, Mason Miller to the Padres. San Diego had to pay a hefty price, including the /3 overall prospect in Leo DeVries. Did they give up too much considering they already have the best bullpen in baseball with a 2.97 ERA?
Hakeem, I love this trade for both sides. For the San Diego Padres, A.J. Preller knows this is his window to win a world championship. They spent all the money on Manny Machado and Fernando Tatis Jr., Xander Bogaerts. They've invested all the money in this team. He had to throw the chips in to win now while he has all this whole core together. And so to be able to get Miller to team with Suarez in the back end of that bullpen, in October, it's going to be nasty. And he went and got the big bats in O'Hearn and Laureano. But to answer your question, the Athletics did really well, too. DeVries is a top 5 prospect in baseball. I'll argue he's top 3 in baseball. He's a switch-hitting shortstop that is an elite defender, range to both sides, good arm. He's going to hit. He's going to have power. And by the time the Athletics move to Las Vegas in 3 years, he'll be Major League ready. He'll be a star. And will there be a day that A.J. Preller looks back and say, I wish I hadn't done it? Probably, same way that he's looking at James Wood right now in Washington, who he traded for Juan Soto. Probably the same way the White Sox are looking at them trading Fernando Tatis Jr. to the Padres. There may be a day that happens, but to win right now, this made too much sense. And Miller is that good. And with Suarez, they now have the best duo back end of any bullpen in the game. And literally, if the Padres have a lead after 6, they're beating you. And now they have a chance to catch the Dodgers. Now they have a chance to get to the World Series. So I love the deal for the Padres, but I got to be honest, I love it for the Athletics too, because I also love Braden Nett too, the pitcher they got in that deal, who to me is going to clearly be a mid-rotation starter in the big leagues when he's fully developed. So I love it both ways.
Padres holding on to the final wild card spot in the National League and also just 3 games back of the Dodgers in the NL West. So certainly all in. The Toronto Blue Jays leading the AL East, and they make a nice move here, a low-risk move, I would say, Julian, getting Shane Bieber, who's working his way back from Tommy John. He's looked good in his rehab starts. He's going to make his season debut sometime in August. I would characterize this as a low-risk move for a team that needed another starter heading into the postseason.
Certainly, and I think, again, we have to give some pause because Tommy John's got a lot of guys come back from it differently. But adding him, at, like you said, at a low risk certainly means something, because you match this with Kevin Gausman, you go through their rotation, Chris Bassett, Barrios, all those guys, and suddenly you have a 4th starter. Just those 3 guys alone can win you, can advance you in the playoffs. Maybe not win a World Series, but can advance you in the playoffs. So the fact that they were able to get him, I think that's huge for them.
A clear need for Toronto, 24th in MLB in starters ERA 4.51. So a nice move there. I loved Shane Bieber in Cleveland, but he goes on to Toronto where he reunites with Mark Shapiro, so they get that done, and that's clear need for them as they lead that division. The Yankees right behind the Blue Jays, and the Yankees were busy, as we mentioned, upgrading their bullpen. They got David Bednar. They got Camilo Doval. Yankees bullpen in shambles, 6.29 in July, their worst bullpen ERA in a month since April of 2009. Bednar, get this, putting hitters to bed, saying night-night, posting a .39 ERA in 24 games since May 24th. Jim, when you look at the Yankees, how do you feel about their moves that they made to upgrade their pen?
Yeah, I mean, I love it. I mean, it's dramatic. It is. I mean, it's kind of like what the Mets did in the National League. You know, they added a lot of depth here. I mean, they already had 2 closers, basically, but, you know, to be able to add Doval as well as Bednar, as well as Jake Bird, add 3 guys. I mean, that is special. And I think the other thing that they did is they had some really good bench pieces here that people aren't going to talk enough about, but they bring in Jose Caballero Caballero, who now gives them a defensive shortstop behind Volpe, who's been struggling, but a utility player that can play all over the field, comes to the ballpark with energy. I thought that was important. They picked up Austin Slater, who crushes left-handed pitching, which is going to help when you look at Dominguez and Grisham. It's just a really good fit. And then they got Ahmed Rosario, who, you know, has great positional flexibility where you can put him all over the field like Caballero. So I think, you know, what Brian Cashman did, he didn't go get that big starter that he wanted to because he didn't want to give up Spencer Jones, but he certainly built the bullpen and the bench up to a very high level. And he had learned last year when he lost to the Dodgers in the World Series. Dodgers had a better bullpen, Dodgers had a better bench, and he wanted to make sure he improved it, and he certainly did that at this deadline.
Well, they're getting Luis Gil back soon, so that adds another arm in the rotation very soon. Just like the Yankees getting a deal done at the buzzer for Camilo Doval from the Giants. The Giants also involved in another deal as they are sending Mike Yastrzemski to the Kansas City Royals, who are still very much in the wild card mix, just 3 games out. You're going to get that kind of defense from Yaz, hitting .231 this season. The Royals also acquired pitcher Bailey Falter from the Pirates before the deadline. So Kansas City also making moves. A lot of moves being made on this trade deadline. Some players that were not traded. This man, Luis Robert Jr., the Chicago White Sox holding on to him. We'll talk about the other players that did not get moved at the trade deadline. That's next on CBS Sports HQ.
Go. The 2025 CBS Sports NFL schedule is here. 18 glorious Sundays.
He's got his receiver touchdown.
Filled with rematches.
Oh, the play of the year.
And rivalries.
Touchdown, Bengals.
Plus, plenty of superstar showdowns. And an epic matchup between the Chiefs and Cowboys on Thanksgiving. Clear your Sundays beginning September 7th for the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus.
Someone targeted our daughter.
What are we going to do about it? I've got an idea.
Let's go.
NCIS Tony and Ziva streaming this fall on Paramount Plus.
One of the best movies of the year is now streaming on Paramount Plus.
What are we dealing with here? There's a hostage situation. Get the crew in.
It's gripping from beginning to end.
We can't make one mistake.
September 5, now streaming on Paramount Plus.
The most original musical ever is now streaming on Paramount Plus.
I'm just giving the people what they want.
Better Man absolutely sizzles from start to finish. Better Man now streaming on Paramount Plus.
This is Chicago. Street's always gonna have a villain.
To protect the city, we have to do something. Women, it's time to get to work.
The Shot. New season streaming May 16th, only on the Paramount Plus with Showtime plan.
These are the voyages of the Patrick Starship Enterprise. Where's the sponge?
Weird dream.
Whether you like SpongeBob, Star Trek, or both, find your mountain on Paramount Plus.
Hi. Novocaine?
Novocaine!
Novocaine is now streaming on Paramount Plus.
You're gonna love this.
Oh, you're strong!
It's wildly entertaining and an absolute blast.
I'm in.
Novocaine, rated R, now streaming on Paramount Plus.
I wasn't ready to die.
The wait is over.
I need to know what happened.
Discover the mystery everyone's been talking about. School Spirits. Every episode of all seasons now streaming on Paramount Plus.
What's he like? The happy-faced killer?
You mean my dad? Be glad you never have to know.
You think that you're so much better than me. You're just like your old man.
I'm not like you at all.
Broke himself.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Mobland, new series now streaming on Paramount Plus.
She knows, and I know she knows. And that goes a little something like this. Here we go. Little something, little tune to play, make a good time
Back here on CBS Sports HQ, our trade deadline coverage continues with Julian Williams and Jim Bowden. And Jim, several names that we talked about heading into the deadline not moved, like Luis Robert Jr., Stephen Kwan, Zach Gallen does not get moved. Who are some of the names that really stand out to you that were not traded?
Well, a lot of the best starting pitchers didn't go. Joe Ryan didn't go. Edward Cabrera didn't go. Mackenzie Gore, Sandy Alcantara, Dylan Cease, all of them are still with their same teams. And then other players that we thought, the kind of lower-level guys, but Andrew Heaney and Dennis Santana, the Pirates, we thought might go, and they didn't. So, you know, what happened was the relievers went first, and the returns on the relievers were just amazing. And because of that, the people that had the starting pitchers were holding out for the very best prospects in the game, and really only one, DeVries of San Diego, went for Mason Miller. But for the most part, those other contending teams refused to trade their #1 prospects, and that's what it was going to take to get a lot of those starters, in particular Ryan, Cabrera, and Alcantara.
Are you surprised that Dylan Cease didn't get moved? Is there a name that you're like, wow, I'm really surprised he didn't get moved?
And no, he's not the one that's really surprised me, because I didn't quite understand after A.J. Preller made the deal with the Athletics, I thought they would just go for it. And then when he was able to get both Laureano and O'Hearn from Baltimore, I felt like, well, why would you trade Cease? Because they used the 2 pitchers to go get the catcher, Freddie Fermin, from the Royals. And once they gave up both of those guys, because Kolek and Burgett were pitching really well for them, when they gave them up to get Fermin, I felt like, how can you also give up Cease unless you're getting pitching back? So I think at the end of the day, the fact that they made the deal for Fermin probably got AJ to say, I'll just keep Cease and keep the numbers, which I think he needed to do.
Yeah, I think the guy that surprised me that didn't leave the list is Marcell Ozuna.
Okay.
Right? I think that's a guy that I thought the Red Sox would probably have some interest in, because they needed a right-handed bat, particularly a right-handed bat at Fenway. And he kills the baseball at Fenway, like moonshots at Fenway. So, and then again, another guy I think is Sean Murphy, right? You have Drake Baldwin, who I think is coming, is right behind him. I just think that the Braves totally missed out on an opportunity to gain some momentum at this deadline.
Yeah, that was quite confusing, because they're out of the playoffs, and they didn't do anything. So that's disappointing that they didn't make any moves, especially considering Ozuna's on an expiring deal. So
well, what happened there, though, is he has the 5-10 rights.
Yes.
So he was nixing every offer that was brought there. So there was one team that was in on Ozuna. I don't know what team it was, but I was totally exercised his 5-10 rights. Alex Anthopoulos, the president, had absolutely no control over that situation. It was all up to Ozuna. So that's what happened there. I was surprised they didn't trade Raisel Iglesias, just because of all the returns everyone was getting for relievers. That surprised me. I asked them about Murphy, and they told me they really wanted to keep both Murphy and Baldwin and go with both catchers both this year and going forward.
Yeah, a guy that also surprised me too is Zach Gallen.
Yeah,
right. He's also
struggling, but yeah, I get maybe a change of scenery, because we always talk about it. Maybe a change of scenery. You go from a winning club and maybe perform better.
Yeah, and I think this is what happens, because I spoke to an executive early in the week, and he said teams don't show their hands until the last days or so, or the last few hours. And I think if you're not engaging in those talks early on, this is a certain type of stuff that I think can happen in these places. In addition, it happened with Zach Gallen. So I think if you're looking at this situation with the Diamondbacks, I think that's also a team that possibly missed out. I know they moved Eugenio Suarez and Merrill Kelly, but I think they missed out moving Gallen as well.
Yeah, the Mariners certainly benefited from the Arizona Diamondbacks. The Seattle Mariners among the winners at the deadline, as they get 2 middle-of-the-order bats in Josh Naylor and Geno Suarez from the D-backs. Coming up, we'll break down the winners and losers from the MLB Trade Deadline. Houston, we have a shortstop and a third baseman. His name is Carlos Correa. He's coming back. We're coming back after this.
Go. The 2025 CBS Sports NFL schedule is here. 18 glorious Sundays.
He's got his receiver touchdown.
Filled with rematches.
Oh, the play of the year.
And rivalries.
Touchdown, Bengals.
Plus, Plenty of superstar showdowns and an epic matchup between the Chiefs and Cowboys on Thanksgiving. Clear your Sundays beginning September 7th for the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus.
Someone targeted our daughter.
What are we going to do about it? I've got an idea.
Let's go.
NCIS Tony and Ziva streaming this fall on Paramount Plus.
One of the best movies of the year is now streaming on Paramount Plus.
What are we dealing with here? There's a hostage situation. Get the crew in.
It's gripping from beginning to end.
We can't make one mistake.
September 5, now streaming on Paramount Plus.
The most original musical ever is now streaming on Paramount Plus.
I'm just giving the people what they want.
Better Man absolutely sizzles from start to finish. Better Man now streaming on Paramount Plus.
This is Chicago. The street's always gonna have a villain.
To protect the city, we have to do something. Women, it's time to get to work.
The Shot. New season streaming May 16th. Only on the Paramount Plus with Showtime plan.
These are the voyagers of the Patrick Starship Enterprise. Where's the sponge?
We're dream.
Whether you like SpongeBob, Star Trek, or both, find your mountain on Paramount Plus.
Hi. Novocaine?
Novocaine!
Novocaine is now streaming on Paramount Plus.
You're gonna love this.
Oh, you're strong!
It's wildly entertaining and an absolute blast.
I'm in.
Novocaine, rated R, now streaming on Paramount Plus.
I wasn't ready to die.
The wait is over.
I need to know what happened.
Discover the mystery everyone's been talking about. School Spirits. Every episode of all seasons now streaming on Paramount Plus.
What's he like? The happy-faced killer?
You mean my dad? Be glad you never have to know.
You think that you're so much better than me. You're just like your old man.
I'm not like you at all.
Broke himself.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Mobland, new series now streaming on Paramount Plus.
She knows, and I know she knows. And that goes a little something like this. Here we go. Little something, little tune to play, make the good times
sports news all the time?
We've got breaking news to bring to you.
CBS Sports HQ gives you a snapshot of all the sports that matter to you.
Big news coming out of the NFL. A lot of movement in the rankings this week.
With highlights.
What a finish at the final round of play.
And in-depth analysis.
Can they three-peat? Tony Romo joins the conversation.
What can you say about this game?
When you need your sports in a snap.
We're bringing you that breaking news right here on HQ.
Find it on CBS Sports HQ. Streaming free anywhere you are.
The world of sports never sleeps, and neither do we. Welcome to CBS Sports HQ Morning Buzz, Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. You can catch up on the latest storylines and highlights with expert analysis to get you dialed in. So grab your coffee and kickstart your day off right with Morning Buzz only on CBS Sports HQ.
The MLB trade deadline has come and gone, and we saw a flurry of massive moves. Carlos Correa headed back to Houston, waives his no-trade clause to go back to the club that drafted him first overall in 2012. He's in the third season of a 6-year deal. The All-Star shortstop helped the Astros win the World Series in 2017. He'll shift to third base with shortstop Jeremy Pena nearing a return from a fractured rib. Minnesota covering around $30 million of the roughly $100 million that Correa is owed. The Astros also added outfielder Jesus Sanchez from the Marlins. The Padres in a blockbuster deal, getting Mason Miller and J.P. Sears in a deal with the A's. The A's get a package of 4 prospects, including number 3 overall prospect Leo DeVries. Padres also got Ryan O'Hearn and Ramon Laureano from the Orioles. The Yankees get a pair of closers, David Bednar from the Pirates, and at the buzzer they get Camilo Doval from the Giants. Also got reliever Jake Bird from the Rockies. They picked up Jose Caballero as well. The Blue Jays traded for Guardian starting pitcher Shane Bieber, who's working his way back from Tommy John surgery, on track to make his season debut in August. And for more, welcome in our heavy hitters, CBS Sports national baseball reporter Julian McWilliams here in studio, and former MLB Executive of the Year Jim Bowden here to break down their winners from a busy trade deadline. Jim, your biggest winner is who?
Seattle Mariners, for me, I give them an A+. I thought Jerry Dipoto did exactly what his team needed. He's been trying to improve both infield corners for the last couple of years. Hasn't been able to do it. He tried in the offseason, couldn't do it. He got to the deadline, and he was able to get Eugenio Suarez and Josh Naylor. Suarez to play third, Naylor to play first, in 2 separate deals with the Diamondbacks. And in neither trade did he have to give up a top prospect. He was able to hold his very best prospects in both deals. That was incredible. And keep in mind, the only people that have hit more homers than Suarez this year are Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani, and his new teammate Cal Raleigh. And now Suarez and Raleigh may be not just teammates, they might be the second duo in baseball history to each hit 50 homers in the same year. The last 2 to do it with Mickey Mantle and Roger Maris in 1961. And they also added a usable left-hand reliever in Caleb Ferguson, who has looked really good lately. So for Jerry Dipoto to go out there and get both Suarez and Naylor and Ferguson, for me, he was the very biggest winner of this deadline.
That's 77 combined home runs if you're keeping score between Gino Suarez and Cal Raleigh. And then add another 21 from Randy Arozarena. I only tell you that, Julian, because I have all 3 players on my fantasy team. So Team Hakeem, one of the biggest winners here at the deadline. Who's your biggest winner?
Phillies. I got to go with the Phillies. This is Dave Dombrowski's time. He loves the trade deadline. And while everybody looks at 500 guys at the trade deadline, Dave Dombrowski looks at 5, right? And he got what he wanted. He got Yohan Duran and Harrison Bader. I talked to him a few weeks ago. He said, I was like, what do you need at the deadline? He says, well, we need somebody in our bullpen, and we need somebody in the outfield. What they got somebody in their bullpen, they got somebody in the outfield. He wasn't necessarily worried about the lineup, right? Because he said, this is a lineup that has to perform. Nick Castellanos, he has to perform. Bryce Harper, he's just coming back from injury, he has to perform. We have the guys in our lineup, but we need to go out and get the guys that we need. And he always just goes out and gets the guys that he needs. Keep in mind, in 2018, what did he do? He went out and got Nate Eovaldi. Yep. That became a huge part of their World Series run. Ian Kinsler. It's just like the wins within the margins, right? And Harrison Bader is that wins within the margins guy that I think can put them over the top as well.
Well, 2 things for me here. Yohan Duran's entrance at Citizens Bank Park going to be electric the first time he takes the mound there. It's incredible with the LEDs, and the music is phenomenal. And then Harrison Bader is going to fit in that clubhouse immediately. Like, this guy is a baseball lifer, comes up clutch in the playoffs, so good on you to point out the Phillies because they fortify their bullpen and they get a good outfielder in Harrison Bader. Jim, give me 2 more winners, your 2 other biggest winners at the deadline.
Yeah, I'm going to go Padres and Mets here. Look, the San Diego Padres, to be able to go out there and get the 100-mile-an-hour fastball of Miller to team with Suarez is incredible. To be able to shut down the end of those games with the all-star Jason Adam getting to those 2 guys. Padres leave after 6, they're going to win these games. And now I think they're a real threat to the Dodgers for the division, not just in the postseason. They added J.P. Sears in that same deal from the Athletics, another starter for the middle or back of their rotation. That pitching depth is so important. And they held on to Dylan Cease. I want to add that. So they got Sears and kept Cease. But I also love the fact that, one of the goals that AJ kept telling me that he was going to get at this deadline is he told me he was going to get a bat or 2. And it didn't look like he was going to accomplish it. And then at the very last hour, he made the trade with the Orioles, and he got both Ryan O'Hearn and Ramon Laureano. And Ryan O'Hearn has been on base at a 375 clip all year. He's got 12 home runs. And then you've got Laureano, who, quite frankly, is having one of the better years of his career for left field, and he controls them past this year. They have an option for Laureano next year. So to be able to get Miller, Sears, O'Hearn, and Laureano was huge. And then my other winner was the New York Mets. Look, they didn't get Duran. The Phillies got the better closer. but they got 3 significant relievers, all with former closing experience, along with an elite center fielder. So you get Ryan Helsley from the Cardinals, you get Tyler Rogers from the Giants, Gregory Soto from the Orioles, so 2 righties and a lefty to help set up Edwin Diaz, and then you go get an elite Gold Glove caliber center fielder in Cedric Mullins, who, look, he might be hitting only 200, but this is a guy that can steal you 20 bags. He can hit 20 homers, and he brings energy and positivity to the clubhouse every day. And he's going to fit in well with Juan Soto and Francisco Lindor, Pete Alonso, and all that good energy that the Mets have. So I really like my 3 favorite teams for me at the deadline were Mariners, Padres, and Mets.
Yeah, and Ryan Stanek joked, he told Mike Puma of the New York Post, I might be throwing the 4th inning now, just how loaded that Mets bullpen is. So that's going to be something to watch for. Also, as you heard, Jim, the Padres bullpen, best bullpen in baseball in terms of ERA, and they added Mason Miller, a clear winner as well. Give me 2 more winners for you, Julian.
Yeah, I got the Padres and I got the Mariners. And the Padres, is funny. Ramon Laureano, I covered him in Oakland, right? And he texted me out the blue yesterday, said, where do you think I'm going? And I said, the Padres. I think you're going to the Padres. And just so happened he's going to the Padres. I think he's an elite outfielder. I think it gets lost in everything. When I covered him in Oakland, he was elite. He was elite last year. When he was elite, he's been elite this year for the Orioles. And I think outfield defense is something that isn't taken into account for. And I think if you put him in left field, I know he's not going to play, probably not going to play right with Tatis there and center Romero there. But if you put him in left field, I think you have one of the better outfields in baseball. And I think the addition of O'Hearn, they went out and got it. The reason why I have them at an A-, though, is because they give up so much. And I think at this time, they better be right about this. And then with the Mariners, I think that it's the team that I have at a B+ because they went out, again, they went out and got the guys that they needed to get. But I'm not sure if this puts them in World Series contention. But I think that the other teams I mentioned, that puts them in World Series contention.
So you don't think Suarez and Naylor puts the Mariners over the top?
They've been a team that's been so up and down for me for years past, so I'm just going off of recent history. On paper, it looks like it, but Julio Rodriguez, what's going on there? Like, you're supposed to be this elite talent. I need him to heat up now. He needs to go now. Now is go time, right? And I just think that some of their guys have sort of underperformed. I know Cal Raleigh's having a great season. I've always liked J.P. Crawford. They have an elite lineup, but I'm just not sure they can put it together because they haven't shown me that. Similar to what the Blue Jays have done, right? I didn't have the Blue Jays necessarily making the playoffs, but now they've proved me wrong up until this point. I think they've had a great season, but their reputation sort of follows them a little bit.
Yeah, they've figured out a way to win, and consider Anthony Santander has been injured in their acquisition they got. So they've made certain upgrades as well, and Vladdy's having a good season, and they've gotten guys off the bench to lead the way in the AL East. Jim, if I was going to give you 2 lineups, Padres lineup or Mariners lineup, which one are you taking? And also remember that Victor Robles is coming back for Seattle.
I'm taking both. Can I do that? That's all I want to do. Look, I just, and I understand Julian's point of view, but when I look at the Mariners, their starting rotation 1 to 6 is as deep and strong as anyone. They're getting Bryce Miller back. And more importantly, in the month of July, their 4 best starters all performed. They all took the mound, and they all pitched like they're capable of, with ERAs in 2s and 3s only. And they got an impact reliever in Andres Munoz in the back end that shuts down those games that they're winning. And now you look at the lineup. I mean, J-Rod's always been a second-half player. He is hot right now, but he didn't hit last year in the first half. Then August and September he took off. Raleigh's the MVP of the league right now. Ever since Aaron Judge went on the injured list, that puts Raleigh in the lead for the MVP. And Polanco's having a really good year. J.P. Crawford's on base 37% of the time. You brought up Robles, who hit over 300 last year, is going to be added to this team. I mean, I think, I'm telling you, when I look at this team, they're really good defensively up the middle. They've got power, they've got speed, they've got starting pitching, and they got the back end. I don't know what they're missing.
Plus 1,600 after the trade to get Gino Suarez to win the World Series. They're trying to win their first World Series in franchise history. This could be the year. The Mariners certainly winners at the deadline. Jim Bowden, Julian McWilliams here on CBS Sports HQ. Coming up, who disappointed at the deadline? We'll break down the biggest losers at the trade deadline. That's next on CBS Sports HQ.
The 2025 CBS Sports NFL schedule is here. 18 glorious Sundays.
He's got his receiver touchdown.
Filled with rematches.
Oh, the play of the year.
And rivalries.
Touchdown, Bengals.
Plus, plenty of superstar showdowns. And an epic matchup between the Chiefs and Cowboys on Thanksgiving. Clear your Sundays beginning September 7th for the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus.
Someone targeted our daughter.
What are we going to do about it? I've got an idea.
Let's go.
NCIS, Tony and Ziva streaming this fall on Paramount Plus.
One of the best movies of the year is now streaming on Paramount Plus.
What are we dealing with here? There's a hostage situation. Get the crew in.
It's gripping from beginning to end.
We can't make one mistake.
September 5, now streaming on Paramount Plus.
The most original musical ever is now streaming on Paramount Plus.
I'm just giving the people what they want.
Better Man absolutely sizzles from start to finish. Better Man now streaming on Paramount Plus.
This is Chicago. Streets always gonna have a villain.
To protect the city, we have to do something. Women, it's time to get to work.
The Shy. New season streaming May 16th. Only on the Paramount Plus with Showtime plan.
These are the voyagers of the Patrick Starship Enterprise. Where's the sponge?
Weird dream.
Whether you like SpongeBob, Star Trek, or both, find your mountain on Paramount Plus.
Hi. Novocaine?
Novocaine!
Novocaine is now streaming on Paramount Plus.
You're gonna love this.
Oh, you're strong!
It's wildly entertaining and an absolute blast.
I'm in.
Novocaine, rated R, now streaming on Paramount Plus.
I wasn't ready to die.
The wait is over.
I need to know what happened.
Discover the mystery everyone's been talking about. School Spirits. Every episode of all seasons now streaming on Paramount Plus.
What's he like? The happy-faced killer?
You mean my dad? Be glad you never have to know.
You think that you're so much better than me. You're just like your old man.
I'm not like you at all.
Problem solved.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Mobland, new series now streaming on Paramount Plus.
She knows, and I know she knows. And that goes a little something like this. Here we go. Little something, little tune to play, make a good time.
Sports news all the time.
We've got breaking news to bring to you.
CBS Sports HQ gives you a snapshot of all the sports that matter to you.
Big news coming out of the NFL. A lot of movement in the rankings this week.
With highlights.
What a finish at the final round of play.
And in-depth analysis.
Can they three-peat? Tony Romo joins the conversation.
What can you say about this game?
When you need your sports in a snap.
We're bringing you that breaking news right here on HQ.
Find it on CBS Sports HQ. Streaming free anywhere you are.
The world of sports never sleeps, and neither do we. Welcome to CBS Sports HQ Morning Buzz, Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. You can catch up on the latest storylines and highlights with expert analysis to get you dialed in. So grab your coffee and kickstart your day off right with Morning Buzz only on CBS Sports HQ.
Back here with CBS Sports national baseball reporter Julian Williams and former MLB Executive of the Year Jim Bowden here to break down their losers at the trade deadline. Jim, who disappointed the most at the deadline in your opinion?
I think the Angels probably disappointed me the most. I just don't understand why they never sell at the deadline. I didn't understand when they had a chance to trade Shohei Ohtani a couple years back and they didn't do it. They had a chance to rebuild their franchise by trading him for 7 prospects. They held on to him and for some reason thought they were contenders. And again, now we're at this deadline in a seller's market. And for whatever reason, they think they're going to be able to go past the Astros, Mariners, and Rangers. And I just don't see how or why they're thinking that way. They had a lot they could have traded at this deadline. Their closer, Kenley Jansen, was pitching well. Closers brought big returns. They had Taylor Ward with all his power. There were so many teams out there like the Padres that were looking for the power. They decided to hold on to him. Yohan Moncada, the third baseman. Teams were looking for third baseman, and the Angels said, no, I'm holding on to everybody. So they ended up being buyers. They bought a couple of relievers from the Washington Nationals and Luis Garcia and Andrew Chafin, and they picked up an infielder, Oswaldo Peraza, from the New York Yankees, and that was their buying. I just don't understand what they're doing because they're hurting themselves, not just short-term, but more importantly, long-term, by continually screwing up the deadline.
Yeah, they also didn't move Tyler Anderson as well. I mean, this is, I mean, like, I get it. They're sort of in the mix here in the wild card race, 4 games out. Mike Trout's healthy. You're having the season that, you know, Joe Adell's having as well. Luis Rengifo is having a decent season. He could have been a guy you move. So, yeah, Jim's absolutely right. Certainly disappointing at the deadline. For you, who was the most disappointing team?
I have the White Sox.
Okay.
And that's solely for the fact that they didn't move Luis Robert. I think that's sort of criminal in this industry for them to be able to do that. Even the Rockies, right? They understood the assignment. It was, we aren't that good. We got to move on from some of these
But why not keep Luis Robert as your centerpiece of your ball club, right? You have him for 2 more years under team control, right?
So exactly. What are you going to do in those 2 years, though?
Well, you're going to try to build a winning ball club, right? Because that's your piece.
I don't think you can win. You haven't been able to put together a winning ball club with him a part of the roster for this long,
True.
right? He was a part of the roster when you had guys like Tim Anderson a part of the mix. I know he was a little bit younger then, but if you have 2 years of control left, I think that's your most valuable asset to be able to deal. Maybe they're waiting for the offseason, but I just don't understand why they wouldn't do that.
Okay, so what I was basically what I was basically told on this is they didn't get the return they wanted. They worked very hard with 3 teams to try to move them, including the New York Mets and San Diego Padres. And they asked for Mark Vientos. The Mets said no. The Mets countered with Acuna and others, and they just didn't match up. And they didn't want to trade Robert for what the Mets ended up giving the Orioles for Cedric Mullins. They could have traded Robert to the Mets for the same 3 minor league relief pitchers that the Orioles took for Mullins. That wasn't enough for them. And so at the end of the day, Chris Getz, their GM, sat there and said, look, I can't get it for him. I get it. He's having a down year. He's hit around 200 the whole year. I'll just keep him. I'll pick up the $20 million option for next year, and I'll try again to trade him either in the offseason or next trade deadline. And look, sometimes the best trades are the ones you don't make. You know, the Diamondbacks were in the same position with Zach Gallen. Good pitcher, bad year. Nobody wanted to give them anything better than what they could get with a draft pick. So, you know, Diamondback said, I'll hold him too. So, you know, look, I understand what they did, but I really thought someone was going to step up for Robert, and I'm kind of disappointed that they didn't, because I would have liked to seen what Luis Robert could do in a clubhouse like the Mets, Phillies, or Padres, because I think the veterans around him would have helped him go to the next level.
Oh, he was hitting right around 350 in the month of July, so certainly a contender could have used him, as Jim noted there, and he would have been electric to see in the postseason down the stretch. MLB trade deadline was awesome. A flurry of moves. Jim Bowden and Julian McWilliams here wrapping it up for us on CBS Sports HQ. Men, thank you. Enjoy the rest of the season, because it's going to be thrilling as we chase to the postseason. Speaking of trades, Terry McLaurin wants a trade out of Washington. Say what? We'll break that down next on CBS Sports HQ. Keep it locked.
Here we go. The 2025 CBS Sports NFL schedule is here. 18 glorious Sundays.
He's got his receiver touchdown.
Filled with rematches.
Oh, the play of the year.
And rivalries.
Touchdown, Bengals.
Plus, plenty of superstar showdowns.